Ooh, we get to see it again. Hardened Scales versus Hollow One. So two powerful decks that have really made a showcasing in Modern within the last 2 years. These decks hadn't really existed up to this point. So really exciting to see how this matchup is going to go because, again, these are kind of like the new kids on the block with Powerhouse in regards to Modern. All right, what's everyone's vote? Who are they thinking? Who's going to be taking it? Is it Hollow One or Hardened Scales? Welding jar, boom, 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 he says, look at that. And we already are seeing him throw down that animation module. Helps him kind of with that go wide strategy. And Keenan's going to drop down to 19. All right, get your votes in. Who you think's going to be winning it, guys? Wow, Keenan is going ham right now. Faithless Looting. Got, looks like 2 Phoenix thrown in the graveyard here. He could bring 1 back, though, because Flame Blade Adept became a 3 power. Ooh, another Faithless Looting. That is pretty nice. So we can throw these 2 in there. Looks like he'll be able to cast that Hollow One, which is a nice power start as well. Push him for damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 points coming across. Alright, nice little setup here. It says, I'd like to make a dude, please. I need to get more threats out. And he's going to make a servo token, which again is those just kind of 1/1s, don't fly, just nice little dude mans. Swamp. Landfall trigger. Gonna help out. Bringing back that blood gas. There's also a Gurmag in his hand here, but thing is, he's got the Faithless Looting. He's got 2 Phoenixes in his yard. I think bringing the Phoenix out of the graveyard is better here than worrying about trying to get the Gurmag online yet. And yeah, he's going to grab both those in his graveyard, and he says, let's do it, shall we? Block here. Block here. He can sack that. Make it bigger if he'd like. Says, hey, you need 2 guys. He says this guy needs to have 2 guys blocking it. So they're going to rewind real quick. And he's going to reevaluate. He's like, this guy's got menace, so he needs to have at least 2 blockers going on blocking duty. Two Phoenix, that's 4 power. 1 Hollow One's 4 power, that makes it 8. And with that Flame Blade, it's 9. So he says, okay, let's do this like this, this like that. No, let's do that. Let's do that. We'll assign damage to that guy. And he says, oh, okay. Sack to this guy. Activate. That guy gets bigger. That guy becomes a 2/2. Flame Blade will die. He'll take 4, go to 11. The rest of it gets absorbed. And here's a Gurmag to follow it up. Going big. No green mana, so those Hardened Scale that he's hiding in his hand there, not going to work. He does have another Arcbound, and it looks like the walking or Hangerback Walker, Walking Ballista, Hangerback Walker. They're all the same. All have walking with their names. And he says, you know what? Let's make another guy when I cast this guy and get him out there with a +1 counter on him. Has that ability to kind of gum up the board now. Both players sort of going wide. And he says, okay, I'm on a Faithless Looting. 2 Goblin Lures. Oh, he had 3 Goblin Lures in his hand, so he's like, yeah, I'll get rid of 2 of them. And I'm just going to poke you up for 4 flying. Dropping Matt down to 7. Steel Overseer going to make everybody bigger. Missing a Forest and missing a Mox does become a little bit annoying, but, you know, with Steel Overseer able to just keep making things bigger, it's not that big a deal. And says, hey, I'm going to make another servo. So, flashing back Faithless seems like a good play here for Keenan. He's got a Gurmag in his hand as well that he might want to be able to play. Another Hollow One as well. So we could say Bloodghast going into the yard and the other Goblin Lore. At this point, the Goblin Lore is going to be more painful than beneficiary. trigger, landfall, bring back the Bloodghast. So he's gotten rid of 2 cards. He can play the Hollow One for 1 here. Finds that Bloody Crypt. We'll lose 3. Going to 15. Says I'm coming at you for 4 again. In the air and 4. Maybe not on the ground. Let's just come 4 in the air. He was debating about the Bloodghast because the landfall lets him come back, and they can't block anyway. So it's one of those. Maybe I can trade off and kill one thing, but because some of his stuff is already those 3 and 4, it's, you know, and they're all going to get bigger anyway. Big, big, big. That's in the tank. These are these positions where it's like super complicated board states where, you know, experience definitely has a benefit for the players kind of going through their lines and saying, okay, if I do it this way, and taking the time to work it through, like not rushing through your decisions, is huge. I know a lot of new players that just like, okay, attacks are coming, I have to decide now. No, you can take a second and decide what is the best course of action, right? So it's deciding, okay, getting out some flyers, doing some blocks seems like it will help me the most. And he's debating about just like chumping. And looks like, yeah, he'll throw 1 in the way, take 2, go to 5. And oh, there's the throne coming out. So we can sack an artifact and make everybody bigger. You have to sack it to the throne, by the way. So he says, let's put a +1 counter on all of my dudes. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to buy more dice if we keep having Hardened Scale players on camera. I'll make a guy, he says. Sack one of my lands. Let's put a +1 counter on everything. We're going wide. Says, I'm going to fly at you for 6. And we'll do this air battle. Sack, sack. and he says, I'll, be able to sack, and then I'm just going to transfer it over. So you see the line now. Now that you have no way to block, I've got these flyers in the air, and I'm coming through for damage. Again, really nice patient play being shown from Matt Harshman with the deck. It's a really fun deck. You can see there's a lot of lines that you need to be able to figure out and be able to read. But it's a powerful list to be running. And now we get to see Matt pulling out a list, it looks like, to kind of get him some tips and tricks about sideboarding, which is really smart. If you're trying to learn a new deck, taking the time to do that is really important. So it looks like some dismembers and stuff are coming in. Surgicals would make sense. I don't know if he's like running a Graph Diggers or something like that. But if Pop-Pop's still in chat, he can let us know what exactly he brought in as well. On the Hollow One side, Ancient Grudge is always nice. Grim Lavamancer is nice. Engineered Explosives is nice. Fatal Push is nice. Like, all these removal spells that are available are definitely where he wants to go. You can get away with kind of shaving down on some of your lore, inquiry, that package to be ready. 2 dismembers, 2 surgicals, and 1 cage is what Mr. Matt Harshman decided to bring in here. Alright, going to game number 2. Keenan's fine with going to 6. Matt is also going to be going to 6 here. Which again is another skill that experienced players will develop over time, is that when to ship them away, when to keep them. That's a really good point that Matt is bringing up in chat. He's saying that post board it becomes really difficult. All right, they have so much more removal. Ancient Grudge is a powerhouse against the deck. Like, the ability to kill something and then flash it back and kill something again is not fun. So both players keeping their 6, going to be doing their scry actions here. And I think that's a lot like original Affinity as well, is that game 1 is the one where they're supposed to be winning, and it gets much harder game 2 post board. Keenan's all about them basics, and a good basic choice as well. knocking my headphones on the floor. Very powerful start here for Keenum. Has a Phoenix in his yard, has a Hollow One out on turn 1, ready to be able to bring back the Phoenix. Another Faithless going to come up. He's going to find a Flame Blade, and he's going to find a Push. Looks like he's going to grab that Flame Blade and put that in the yard. And I think that's perfectly fine, knowing how much the board gets gummed up. And he threw a Gurmag in there too. So it looks like he is much more focused on getting in the air and getting going. So he says, I'm coming at you for 6. Which is a powerful turn 2. Alright, this shows the power level of the deck of being able to do that. It's like an Arcbound Ravager available here. And Hardened Scales to follow it up. He needed that 3rd artifact to be able to turn on that Mox. Push him. Get him out of here. And he's got the bolt. Push and bolt. Doesn't matter where you're moving stuff. It's dying. 6 more damage. Dropping Matt down to 8 life. It's like another Arcbound Ravager is the choice. Oh, missed the Hardened Scales trigger? Not that it matters. Matt's just going to scoop it up. And that is what Matt was just talking about, is just the amount of removal that you have to kind of navigate through is so hard. Like, Push is a powerful card against you. Bolt is a powerful card against you. And so is Ancient Grudge. Now, Bolt becomes less relevant as the game progresses on about it hitting your creatures, because you can try to make them really big. The Push and the Ancient Grudge are always relevant threats that you have to be careful of. All right, let's get things going. Game 3. Street Wraith into a fetch. Wow. He's going hard. Game 3, dropping to 15. And here Matt is over there with his just Mox in a land. And there's a Faithless. Oh my gosh, does he have Hollow Ones as well? And a Phoenix. And a Flame Blades going to the art. And 2 Hollow Ones coming out on turn 1, ladies and gentlemen. That's 8 points of damage ready to start swinging in. Good old Blink Moth Nexus coming down next. Steel Overseer. Ooh. And yeah, that's oh my god. Sometimes that's how it works. Yeah. That's so here's the thing. Hi, Addie. Here's the thing. The deck is super strong, right? Hardened Scales Affinity, you go super wide, you're able to do that kind of pure style like original Affinity, but it is tough when you're facing down removal spells and everything. Like, we just saw that there. Like, Sinister said it right. Oof. Like, ugh. That hurts. Then again, Hollow One is such an explosive deck that it's just like, you can't. Your hand might sit there when you're sitting to keep or mulligan. You're looking at it and you're going, okay, this is all right. You know, I've got a little bit of work around. I should be able to go. If he's got maybe a little bit of a slower start that he's gotten, you know, we'll be okay. You're not expecting 8 power on turn 1. All right? That's not like in your game plan of like, oh, okay, this is what I think should happen and I'll be okay. Nope, that's not what you want. You never want to be seeing that. So really tough to see, but you know, Matt made a really good point during that game, is that the deck is really good game 1, and then in particular against Hollowed One, it's really hard post board. Exactly. So Sinister is also making a really good point too, is that when they're on top of everything that you play, like, all right, I play this, cool, bolt, push, boom, boom, get them all. It's really hard to do that sack in response and really get things going. Like, game 1 was all about that. He had his engines up and running. Yeah, it's the busted clock and removal that makes it hard. That's a really good point. So, yeah. So, tough. But we got one more, and we've got another fun, newer deck to talk about for round number 4. So let's hop over and see what that deck is.